We've seen some amazing things, but that, my friends, is something we've never seen.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice. You just locked yourself into the playoffs.
Nice, got it.
Talk with old Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Completely speechless, to say the least.
Man, I am honestly so baffled by that decision. Brandon Cruz wants advice. It's Brandon wants advice.
Green flag in the air. Brandon Cruz wants advice to the front.
How are you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? This is the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast. My podcast design where I go and look at low-end plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed on daily fantasy sports and how these contests operate. If you have any questions related to NASCAR that you're too embarrassed to ask to your usual DFS provider, if you can't find the answer anywhere else, give me a tweet at BrandonCruzDFS. Most importantly, take everything with a grain of salt and use your best judgment when making entries. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's not my problem. Check your sensitive feelings at the door. Let's get right into it. And this is going to be covering the Truck Series race at Daytona. Sorry about that cough right there. So this is going out today, Friday. I'm recording it at 10:50 a.m. I'm not going to have enough time to do a live recording after the Truck Series, after their qualify, or after they qualify. There's Xfinity Series practice. I got to watch that too, and so we're going to bring the webcam back, and you're just going to see me ramble on for a good, hopefully around 15 minutes or so around there. First off, I don't care what anyone says, that clash was the best race that I have seen in years. It was not a race by any stretch, but my God, it was entertaining. And it was incredible, absolutely incredible. We got a lot of trucks coming this week. A lot of them have sponsors. I think we have 8 going home from qualifying. Qualifying might actually get rained out, so they might fall back on final practice speeds. Either way, a lot of drama going into the Truck Series race today. People that I am interested in right now, first off, it's the trucks. Last year, it was their first truck race on DraftKings. You saw that was an absolute shit show. Nothing went right at all. I think there's like 8 trucks that finished. Everybody who played lineups traditionally, even if you play guys from the back, you still got fucked. It was really hard to have the optimal lineup there. I'm expecting similar shit show equivalent racing tonight. I think we're going to have pretty much around 8 cars left, and I think we're going to have 2 big ones. One probably around 20 laps, and then just a shit show at the end of the race. An absolute joke, a farce of a race, if I do say so myself. That's what I see happening. You can pretty much play any guy you want. I mean, obviously you got $50,000. There's only 4 guys, 10,000 or more for the Truck Series race. Chastain is a bit overpriced. I assume he'll qualify up front. He might be one of the only guys that I really don't focus on. Everybody else is pretty much a go for me at the moment, obviously before qualifying and everything happens. People that I'm interested in are guys who ran a lot of laps in both practices. So if you look at people who were in the draft pretty much the whole time, in practice 1, it was Zane Smith, Ty Majeski, John Hunter Nemechek, Corbin Foster, Austin Wayne Self, Ben Rhodes, Christian Eckes, Nally Decker, Matt Crafton, Brian Dusak, the 28, Grant Infinger, Stuart Friesen, Raphael Lassard, even with the transmission issue, all those guys ran over 10 laps, or women, if you want to say Nally Decker isn't a man, whatever. Johnny Sauter in practice number 2, this is practice number 2, Sauter, Austin Hill, Derek Kraus, Brian Deschart again. Those are the only guys who ran more than 10 laps in the second practice. So a team that I'm seeing is serious. I'm not sure if they're locked in. I'm going to look through everything because I want to see if it's actually going to rain before I start checking to see who's locked in and whatnot. The 28 of Brian Duchak, whatever. Brian is, let me check his price on DraftKings right now. He's $5,400 on DraftKings. He has ran close to, I think, 24 laps in total between the 2 practices. Let me look right fast. Let me go, Brian. Brian has, let's see, 10 the first practice. I thought I had this up, but I guess I did not. Okay, so he ran 20 laps on Brooks practices, but he ran the most. I mean, he was the most consistent out there, either in a 3-car field or just on the track in general. I think he makes the field. Anybody keep up with the Tim Veens drama there with Mike Arfano Motorsports? I mean, that's a fucking joke right there. No, I'm not joking around because it's a Trump car. I don't care about that. Mike is a horrible business owner. I mean, he promises so much stuff. These last few years, he's been promising. He's going to do a full race. He's going to do that. The only thing he's done is race Eldora last year, and I think they had an axle failure or something, take him out of the waste. Well, the Trump car, the 03 Trump car, Trump truck didn't even make it to the racetrack. They got stranded in a ditch on the side of a road in a snowbank. Oh man, like you can't make that stuff up, dude. They put so much work and effort into this truck the last 3 months, and they don't even make it to the racetrack. I found that hilarious. All right, now that we get all that out of the way, who am I interested in? Well, Angela Ruck. She's in a 00. If you have anything of NASCAR on your Facebook, you'll see advertisements for her stupid show. Apparently, her husband has liver damage from drinking and smoking cigars, and she wants a baby now. So she's going to win Daytona today, obviously. Let's see. Jesse Little in the number 97. I'm very interested in. I think he makes the show. He has to qualify in on time, but I think he should be locked in on both situations, whether it rains or whether he has to qualify his way in. I'm very, very interested in Jesse Little, pretty much regardless of where he starts. Norton Benning is one of the few guys who don't have a sponsor, I believe. Everybody else is pretty sponsored, which is pretty amazing. It's something we don't see a whole lot in the Truck Series. We didn't see it last year at Daytona either, but it's certainly refreshing to see all that. Clay Greenfield, a guy who's done exceptionally well at the plate tracks these last few years, has Jesus Jeff Hammond back on the pit box. I don't know if that's going to increase his ownership at all. I liked him before Hammond even decided to jump on halfway through the offseason last year, but I like Craig Greenfield a lot. And I'm mainly focusing on guys who aren't, the top of the top, the crop of the crop, whatever it is. Because, I mean, that's how this race is going to be won, with freaking pivots and punts in the back. And Cody in the number 9, I like as well. Todd Peck in the number 96 looks strong. Let's see. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this. Ray Sislarly in the number 47. Stupid fast in the draft. I don't know if you guys saw the practice or whatnot. I actually liked it because I could watch both practices for once. The 47 kept looking at me, just looks like a fast car. The way it's set up looks nice. Gus Dean, the 56, looked kind of weird. I'm not sure what their plan is, because the 56 is for Hill Motorsports. I'm not sure if that's a conflict of interest. Not sure if he's running under that. Don't really care. I don't think Gus Dean is going to make the race. Not too worried about that. I'm trying to look at any other pivots or punts that we could look at. Ty Majeski in number 45. I have a lot of faith in him. John Hunter Nemechek and Joe Nemechek. Both are sponsored. Both, I hope they do well. I would honestly trust Joe Nemechek more. I think John is probably going to end up wrecking at some point. But Joe Nemechek is fully sponsored. Same with his son. Something we don't see a whole lot. Joe should be running for a championship this year with all the sponsorship he has. So this might be the week to really hop on the Joe Nemechek bandwagon. Now, out of the big dogs, the top teams, if you're going to focus on that way, I don't trust Riley Herbst at all. I don't like him. I don't like the way he races. I would trust Tyler Ankrum more. I would trust Brett Moffitt more. I'd honestly trust Sheldon Creed more in the 2. He's more likely to wreck the field than anybody else, but I honestly trust Sheldon Creed more than I do Riley Herbst in the number 51. Christian Eggers is okay, all right. Cody Roper, I know he's not a big time guy. He'll wreck the field. He did it last year, or he wrecked himself last year, but he'll do something stupid. I'm staying away from Corey Roper. Nally Decker. If you saw what I posted entering the year and on the Twitter, she needed to run well in the ARCA race for me to have a lot of faith in her. she was running with how I wanted her to run. She couldn't sit in the back. She had to go up there and race. She had to go see what the car felt like. She had to go up there. Unfortunate that she was involved in a crash around, I think, halfway through the ARCA race. I like the way she was racing. I don't say this a whole lot, but I'm interested in Allie Decker depending on where she starts. If she starts in the top 10, I'm not going to play her. But if she starts any farther back, even if 11th, I'll probably end up playing Allie Decker. She's in a good truck. She has a good team around her that should help her out in her shortcomings. I think Allie Decker is in play tonight, and I actually really like her as a pivot off of some of the bigger names. I think people are too scared to play Allie Decker because they think she's going to wreck, which I mean, will probably happen anyway, but I don't mind her too much. Matt Crafton, truck looks amazing. Probably my favorite out of the big boys, the big teams today. Todd Gilliland, I'm interested in to see what this partnership with Frontware Motorsports does with him. I think he should have more financial backing behind him. Should be able, I mean, they're all running those Ilmor engines, but he should have, between his dad helping him out, the partnership between them and DGR Crosley helping him out. The 38 should be stupid fast again. Grant Anfinger should finish. He's a solid top 5. Don't think he'll win the race, but I think he finishes top 5 no matter what happens. Stuart Friesen either wins the race or wrecks. Austin Hill, solid top 10. Don't need to worry about it. I just worry about him being caught up in other people's stupid shit. That's pretty much the breakdown of how I'm viewing this establishment. Let me make sure. Ben Rhodes, I could take him or leave him. Just depends on where he's starting. I think Derek Kraus fails to qualify. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I don't think he qualifies. Into the race. Zane Smith, good guy. Could be a pivot off of Jordan Anderson and Austin Wayne Self. Austin Wayne Self and Jordan Anderson are actually, they're quote-unquote teammates, not really. They work out of the same shop, but they're not a team. But I would expect to see Austin Wayne Self and Jordan Anderson work well together today. Hopefully they ride in the back and don't push their luck too much. I think that's pretty much my opinion on everybody. For DraftKings purposes, lineup construction, look, this is how I would probably end up building the lineup. They take the top 32 in teams this year. I'd probably take 4 guys starting either, and it depends. If you think a guy doesn't have a motor and he somehow qualifies his way in at 32nd, if he's underfunded, if he doesn't have a motor, if you don't think it's going to work out for him, don't play him. But from 32nd to probably 20th, I'm going to take maybe 3 guys in each lineup, maybe 4. It's the trucks. I might actually go 5 in some lineups, but I'm going to heavily bet on this race being an absolute shit show today and focusing on the bottom 12 trucks. Now, on the lineups that I only take 3 from this area, I'm going to really pepper in people in the teens and probably someone starting inside the top 10 that I think ends up winning the race. So, I imagine Crafton's probably going to qualify up towards the front. I think he'll carry ownership no matter where he starts. I really like Crafton. Sauter too, to an extent. I think Crafton is the better plate guy, even though he always seems to wreck at the plate tracks. I like him a lot. Chastain's going to carry a lot of ownership. People just recognize the name Watermelon Man. I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, so probably 4 guys starting, bottom 12 trucks. 20th to 10th, maybe 2, maybe 1, depending on how many I already took from the back, and trying to throw in 1 top 10 guy in the front, because I think somebody inside the top 10 finishes inside the top 10 today. And that's about it. What are we at right now? We're at a good 14 minutes. I know this is not what I wanted to do, but I have a lot of things going on this week. This is the busiest week for me, even before I was with DFS Tavern, with all the practices for the trucks, the Cup, the Xfinity Series. I just don't have time to do a live video following the truck race because I gotta watch the Xfinity Series practice. I'm gonna be writing notes down. I want to hear what the stories and the BS excuses these guys give of why they're not fast and why they're too fast. Either way, that's that. If you have any questions, please tweet at me at BrandonCruzDFS. The Cup Series video for the Daytona 500 will be available on DFS Tavern tomorrow. And I'll be making another video for the Xfinity Series. It might be up tonight, might be up tomorrow in the morning. That'll probably be before qualifying as well, just because the turnaround for the the Xfinity and the Truck Series from qualifying to the race is only like 2 hours or something like that, and I gotta be greedy. I gotta focus on my own lineups. But yeah, so I think that's the breakdown. But surprisingly, I think there's only like 4 guys who aren't sponsored for the Truck Series. What I would do, and I pray that FS1 does not cut away when the lower teams are qualifying, but what I do is I still, even when I look at them on Twitter, I go when people qualify, I write who's qualifying and if they're sponsored or not, if they have a good solid motor or not, whether it sounds weird, whether it sounds like it should, whether they are 2/10 off the pace, a second off the pace. I'm not too concerned on drivers being a second and a half off the pace. That's going to happen in the Truck Series. Even in practice, there's like a 5-second difference between the first fastest and the 35th fastest in first practice. So don't get discouraged by practice times. If they're slow, they're not going to qualify. That's the only thing we have going for us to help us out this week. So the slow cars should not qualify. It should just be the fast cars. It should just be cars that should run the entire race. So that is my little opinion on the Truck Series. Yeah, it's going to be... And I'm only playing someone from the top 10 just to have a different lineup. Like I said, I believe it's going to be a shit show. It's going to be a huge wreck fest today. It's going to be a farce. That's what it's going to be. I'm probably going to enter probably 20 lineups around, and then enter the $8 one at least 5 or 6 times with my favorite 8 lineups. But probably 4 of those will just have guys from the back, and then the other 4 will be pivoting just to no-name guys or people starting up in the front. I think that's the way you got to attack the Truck Series. Just look at last year's race. Everybody kind of attacked it thinking the favorites would do well, and everybody got wrecked. Angelo Rutsch was needed in the optimal lineup, and she was down a cylinder. I'm not entirely sure what happened to her in the first practice. I don't think she did another lap. She did not in the second practice, so she did not get a lap in. No, she did. She got 5 laps in the second practice. I'm gonna stop talking before I really start messing people up. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Find me on Twitter, BrandonCruzDFS. Find my content for the Xfinity Series and Xfinity Series, or for the Truck Series and Xfinity Series here, and DFS Tavern for all my Cup Series and stuff. There. Thank you guys for listening. I'll be on Fantasy for Effect hopefully today as well, so check that video out. We're kind of going over the 500 and all that type of stuff. So thank you guys for listening, and I will talk to you later, alligator. Peace out. Can't think of another name. Good luck in your contest.